I scowl with frustration at myself in the mirror. Damn my hair, it just won't behave. And damn Catherine Kavanaugh for being ill and subjecting me to this ordeal. I scowl with frustration at myself in the mirror. That is the opening line of this book. Can we not, as readers, understand a scowl? I mean, there are a number of possible meanings it can have in terms of feeling and emotion, but they're generally all negative, right? Is it that hard for us to figure out that she's frustrated? Do we scowl with glee? Do we scowl with congratulations? Do we scowl in joyful contentment? And also, at myself in the mirror. Who else are you looking at in the mirror? Unless you're the Wicked Queen from Snow White or Alice jumping through the looking glass, there's really no one else you're looking at in the mirror. So just say, I scowl at the mirror. The things I do for you guys. I hope you appreciate this. I really hope you do, because you have no idea how painful this is for me. But keep watching, you'll soon have an idea. Yes, today's lesson comes from E.L. James's 50 Shades of Grey. But Morris, I hear you say, what can we learn from a smutty Twilight fanfic by a 50-year-old British non-author? What indeed? The answer, my friend, is that sometimes we have to learn what not to do. And to do that, we are going to draw on one of the best-selling bad authors of the past 2 decades. This book, 50 Shades and its whole trilogy, caught something in the cultural zeitgeist. It scratched an itch that a lot of people, particularly I believe a lot of middle-aged women, desperately needed scratched. And I'm not knocking women or anyone who read this book. We all need an escape sometimes. We all need to shut our brains off. If you're looking for the male equivalent of 50 Shades, look for something like Tom Clancy or Dan Brown or John Grisham, or just go on the hub. Ugh. But I'm not here to revel in the kinky stuff. I only downloaded the free sample on Amazon on my Kindle here. It only covers the first 10% of the book, or of the trilogy. I downloaded the free sample of the trilogy. So I believe the smutty stuff doesn't even come into the book until much, much later on, from all the reviews I've read. And I even if I did have the whole book, I would never get that far. I'm not recommending that anyone buy this book. You may if you want to. That is on you, and God help you if you do. But the point of this lesson is to show you how you can become a better writer by occasionally and critically, not with the brain turned off, reading bad prose. And again, I'm not knocking anyone who does this. I do this sometimes myself. Sometimes I pick up a trashy thriller novel or sci-fi novel or something like that, something purely pulpy that isn't even good pulp, just to turn my brain off and enjoy. That's perfectly fine. I'm not knocking anyone for doing it. But you should not try to emulate E.L. James's writing here in hopes of catching her success. Millions, if not trillions, of writers, obviously, tried to do that, to do just that in the wake of 50 Shades publication. And nearly all of them crashed and burned. It's a very, 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 very low percentage that did anything. Just like all the sparkly vampire books that followed in the wake of Twilight, there were a few that caught on to that wave. There was the Vampire Diaries, there were the Sookie Stackhouse novels, the True Blood novels, but most of them, there were so many. For every one of those that succeeded, there were so many that died the deserved deaths that they deserved to die. Yes, a badly written book can ride a trend. And with great marketing and a lot of luck, it can succeed as if by magic, but few ever do so. It's a 1 in a septillion chance. And those books are almost never reread. They're snatched off airport store bookshelves, devoured on the plane, and then they're dumped into the nearest wastebasket or the nearest used bookstore. Half Price Books has this novel on paperback, about 1 million copies at every location. They won't even buy it off you anymore. They've got enough to warm Alaska in the winter for the next 7 years. So again, this is a lesson about what not to do. If you want to succeed, you will stand a much better chance of being read, enjoyed, and remembered and reread if you write well. Now, caveat, I know I'm going to get called out on this. People always do. Yes, I realize that reading is subjective, that prose is subjective, that writing is subjective, that there is a subjective component to what makes good and bad writing. But there are effective ways and ineffective ways to tell a story. There's not binary. Obviously, there is a spectrum here, but there are more effective and less effective ways to say anything. Any writer who's been writing for a while, any reader who's read deeply and widely knows this. There are ways of communicating a message that stick with us, and there's reasons why we reread people like Homer and Shakespeare and Jane Austen year after year, and no one really talks about E.L. James much anymore. I realize I'm very late to the party here. If you want to just read a pure panning of this book, there's plenty of them out there. And the movie, I'm not even gonna bother. Never even tried. But without further ado, I'm really trying to delay this. Oh God. Without further ado, let's dive in and find out how not to suck. Still on page 1. I roll my eyes in exasperation and gaze at the pale, brown-haired girl with blue eyes too big for her face staring back at me, and give up. I roll my eyes in exasperation. All right. There are no rules in writing. And here's one of them. If a character is doing something, is taking an action that has emotional connotations within it, or at least emotions or feelings that we can reasonably infer as readers, she doesn't need to also tell us how she's feeling while she's doing those actions. Roll my eyes in frustration, as if you roll your eyes in delight. Or roll my eyes in exasperation. I'm sorry, I'm misquoting her. I'm already forgetting. It's not a rule. It's a guideline, but it's a pretty good guideline. Don't insult your reader's intelligence. Unless your reader is 5 years old, and no 5-year-old should be reading this book, they should be smart enough to figure out that roll my eyes means exasperated. Seriously. She insults her reader's intelligence just like this 3 times in the first paragraph of the book. You know you're not in for a fun ride. I mean, again, if you turn your brain off and you just want to get to the smutty stuff, you do you. Also, the narrator says damn too often. Damn my hair, and damn Kate Kavanaugh, ... I'm not a prude. A well-placed cuss word can be a fine piece of characterization. And my friends and loved ones know that I can swear up a storm to make a sailor blush when I get rolling. But dag nabbit, crying on a cracker, be creative with it. Nobody says damn that damn much. Our main character, Anastasia Steele, yes, that is her name, goes to interview the title character, Christian Grey, also his name, and her future kinky love interest, I should say, although you probably know that, an enigmatic billionaire who's in his 20s and runs a massive mega corporation that does businessy things. Yet also, he has the time to keep fit and stay gorgeous and to pursue 100 interesting hobbies on the side, including the one that the story is about. Very believable, yes, but I'm not even here to rag on the characterization that much, although it's kind of hard to avoid. I'm not here to knock the fantasy. Miss James is hardly the only romance writer guilty of this trope of painting the impossible man. Back to the writing itself. Anastasia walks into the office building, and her description of what she sees involves no less than 5 uses of the word sandstone and 3 uses of the word immaculate in 2 pages. There is such a thing as deliberate repetition for rhetorical effect. See one of my previous videos that talked exactly about that. And then there's just lazy writing. So tip number 2, 3, I don't know anymore. Grab a thesaurus. Guys, be a little creative. There is such a thing as a synonym. Even if it's not perfect, you can find other ways to describe things. She enters Mr. Gray's actual office. And I just got to read you this. I push open the door and stumble through, tripping over my own feet and falling headfirst into the office. Double crap. Me and my 2 left feet. I am on my hands and knees in the doorway to Mr. Gray's office, and gentle hands are around me, helping me to stand. I am so embarrassed. Damn my clumsiness. I have to steel myself, get it, to glance up. Holy cow, he's so young. I'm afraid if I read further, I'm going to catch my death of cliches. So that's another thing. We all write cliches in our rough drafts, but when you're fixing your writing, which you should do when you are revising, find an original image, an original turn of phrase, something that hasn't been used a million trillion times. Tripping over my own feet, falling head first, as if you would fall any other way if you're tripping over your feet. Me and my 2 left feet. Okay. And then double crap. Anastasia Steele is supposed to be a 21-year-old college co-ed in Washington State in the early 2000s. And then, of course, there's the D word again. Damn my clumsiness. If we played a drinking game where I had to take a shot every time she said damn, I'd be dead yesterday. And you gotta love the realistic dialogue. I have no doubt every 21-year-old college co-ed in Washington says double crap and holy cow on a regular basis. No, just pristine characterization. Again, you can try to be a little original. You can try to think of who your character actually is and what she might actually say in that situation. I'm not even going to number these lessons, guys. Just write them down if you want to remember them. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. I don't really know what lesson to draw from this other than write better monologues, better descriptions, better dialogue. Try to make your characters sound at least a little like real humans. Continuing on. So young and attractive. Very attractive. He's tall, dressed in a fine gray suit, white shirt and black tie with unruly dark copper-colored hair and intense bright gray eyes that regard me shrewdly. It takes a moment for me to find my voice. Okay, guys. If you're paying attention and you remember any of your grammar lessons, you might recognize that this is a basic grammatical mistake that you just made. A competent proofreader should have caught this, but I can't honestly blame them. It probably took an army of proofreaders who were already overwhelmed by the time this book was published. So let me read the sentence again, the first sentence, and see if you can catch what she did wrong. He's tall, dressed in a fine gray suit, white shirt, and black tie with unruly dark copper-colored hair and intense bright gray eyes that regard me shrewdly. So you tell me, in that sentence, what has unruly dark copper-colored hair and intense bright gray eyes that regard her shrewdly, as if eyes could actually regard anything? Did you catch it? Well, that's right. His black tie. His tie. That is one creepy personified tie. This is a misplaced modifier, ladies and gentlemen. It is a common grammatical error that a careful 8th grader or a reasonably intelligent hamster could have caught. Jesus Jones, we're still in chapter 1. We're not even 10% of the way through the 10% downloaded free sample. I need some Advil. Okay. Actually, I mutter, if this guy is over 30, then I'm a monkey's uncle. The 1920s called. They want their cliche back. So sorry, I stutter. I'm not used to this. Gee, you stuttered? We couldn't tell from the repeated S sounds. You don't need to tell us a character is stuttering after you've already shown them stutter. A little further on, as Anastasia Steele is interviewing Christian Grey. Christian Grey's dialogue is just as believable as Anastasia Steele's, as believable as both of their names. I make decisions based on logic and facts. I have a natural gut instinct that can spot and nurture a good idea and solid people. I wanted to give the author the benefit of the doubt, and I really can't at this point. I would assume that this is an intentional contradiction, revealing the internal tensions of a complex character. I think we are supposed to think that Christian Grey is complex. Sure. But it's just so stupid. So very, very stupid. Gut instinct is also known as intuition, not logic and facts. It is the opposite of logic and facts. It's a type of feeling. But since our narrator is too dumb to pick up on that right away, I don't know what to say about the author. I don't know if it's intentional. And that's part of the problem. Does she think that we're too dumb to notice that that was a contradiction? If so, she might have a point. This book made millions of dollars. Oh, God.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
And oh my God. The way she reacts to everything he does, she being the narrator, as she says, I look at him and he holds my gaze steadily, impassive. My heartbeat quickens and my face flushes again. Why does he have such an unnerving effect on me? His overwhelming good looks, maybe? The way his eyes blaze at me? The way he strokes his index finger against his lower lip? I wish he'd stop doing that. Please tell me women don't actually think this way. Because this narrator is insufferable. Like, I don't understand how this book got read so many times. Like, you have to live with this narrator for hundreds of pages. Hundreds. It's like cruel and unusual punishment, being forced to follow along with somebody this stupidly vapid. It's not okay. A little later on in the interview, she says, but if you work so hard, what do you do to chill out? Chill out? He smiles, revealing perfect white teeth. Of course. I stop breathing. He really is beautiful. No one should be this good looking. Okay. Chill out? What do you do to chill out? Keep in mind that this is a middle-aged British author writing about what she thinks a 20-something American college student should sound like. Does she get it right? Have you heard anyone say chill out in the last decades. Being self-referential and meta, the fact that Christian Grey calls her out on that, being meta about your cringy dialogue doesn't make it any less cringy. Sorry. About 1,000,000 times during this one conversation, she comes to the realization, the shocking realization, that this guy is a control freak. He only uses words like control and power about every third sentence, so it feels like she's kind of slow on the uptake. She continually has to repeat that, oh my god, he's a control freak. He is a control freak. He's a control freak. Is he a control freak, Anastasia? Are we sure? She says, my interest is piqued. Very original phrasing. How old were you when you were adopted? She asks him. That's a matter of public record, Miss Steele. His tone is stern. Crap. Crap, she says. A little later on in the conversation. Are you gay, Mr. Grey? It rhymes, you see. He inhales sharply, and I cringe, mortified. Crap. 21-year-old college student, ladies and gentlemen, thinking to herself, crap. So a little later on, I guess they're supposed to be flirting in this conversation, although I haven't really been able to pick up on that, other than that she's getting all hot and bothered by him being weird. Anyway, he turns the conversation around on her. I want to know about you. I think that's only fair. His eyes are alight with curiosity. Double crap. Where's he going with this? Double crap. Again. Moving on. He asks her, what are your plans after you graduate? I haven't made any plans, Mr. Grey. I just need to get through my final exams, which I should be studying for right now, rather than sitting in your palatial, swanky, sterile office, feeling uncomfortable under your penetrating gaze. Okay. I should be studying right now, rather than sitting in your palatial, swanky, sterile office, feeling uncomfortable under your penetrating gaze. Studying, sitting, feeling, penetrating. All of those in one paragraph. This is the last lesson for now, because then I gotta go lie down. Watch your ings. Be sparing in your use of the progressive tense. Yes, I know what I just did there. Too many ing verbs and your prose starts to drone on and drive your reader cross-eyed. And our Miss Steele here does a lot of her thinking in ings. Yes, I did that again. Thinking in ings, yes. All right, guys, that's all I can get through right now. I hope you got some good lessons out of that. I would sum them up maybe when I'm watching back through this video. I'll run a text crawl here and you can make sure you've got them all jotted down. But as of right now, I need a nap. And there's just not enough drugs in the world. But I'm a sober person. So I'm just going to go read something better to cleanse my brain. Like the newspaper or the label on the toilet paper roll. Anyway, if you'd care to compensate me for my pains, please like and subscribe and leave a comment below about your most miserable writing experience or writing lesson that you've taken from your most miserable reading experience, however you want to put that. And feel free to share this video with your friends or your enemies. I'd appreciate knowing that I didn't suffer for naught. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm still alive by then, thank you so much. Thank you for 200 subscribers if I've hit that point by this point. And until next time, good luck and good writing. Peace.